Welcome to Shallow. Join us as we explore the topics that are always on our minds. From beauty and wellness trends to balancing our careers and ambitions, these conversations fill our WhatsApp inboxes and social media feeds. We're diving into pop culture and asking the question, is it really that deep?
In today's episode, we're diving into the ever-growing conversation about sleep and sleep hygiene. With sleep hygiene becoming a massive trend, from pillow sprays to high-tech sleep trackers, we're asking the question if it's all gone a bit too far. We'll also chat about the real effects of sleep deprivation on our minds and bodies, and whether the growing sleep aid industry is truly solving our problems or just cashing in on our exhaustion. Let's dive in. Today we're going to chat about a topic that Lucy desperately needs more of right now, and that's sleep. But before we get there, how was your night last night, Luce?
Yeah, great. I apologise if I sound super husky, but I went to see Peggy Goo at Sydney Olympic Park, and if you've not heard of Peggy Goo, then where the fuck have you been living? But she has bangers like Starry Night and
Da, 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 da.
na, na, na.
Whichever one that is, that's what they.
Yeah, and I saw her, I think it was last year or the year before at Finsbury Park, and she was amazing. And yeah, I couldn't miss that opportunity being in Sydney and yeah, just kind of pairing up with my birthday weekend.
Yes, I literally just had a calendar notification that it's your birthday tomorrow.
I'm glad that I'm in your calendar.
Always. So yeah, Lucy is not my biggest fan this morning. I dragged her out of bed to record this.
I'm kind of staring her down.
She's staring daggers. I made her a nice little coffee. I'm hoping she's going to warm up throughout this.
It's really funny because yeah, we decided to do this podcast on sleep, and I'm quite a sleep girly. Like, I love my sleep. I get quite a lot per night.
Same.
So yeah, I think it's quite apt that I've not got enough sleep, and here I am
doing a podcast about sleep.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it, shall we? No better place to start.
I'm gonna do Taylor Swift on tour, where she like stops halfway through and like comes back to the top.
WDTSD. What would Taylor Swift do? No, that's not even how it goes. Okay, anyway, moving on.
We'll do.
So should we start with how much sleep the average person should get? Luce, as you are drastically under that this evening, do you want to tell me?
Okay. So I found on the Sleep Health Foundation, I think this is kind of common knowledge between a lot of people. I think people kind of know this in the back of the mind, even if they choose to not follow it. Individuals kind of vary in their sleep needs, but most adults require between 7 and 9 hours a night to feel properly refreshed.
How many did you get last night?
I think I was probably about 5. And do you know what? That's not too bad. Like, I think I can function on that. I think I can have a nice day.
You're doing
go
great.
To the zoo. That's not just like a weird thing. I think we are going to go to the zoo. Anyway, most adults require between 7 and 9 hours a night to feel properly refreshed and function at their best the next day. Many try to get away with less sleep, but there are some people who are genuine short sleepers, and others may require considerably more than the average.
Definitely. So I think we've kind of touched on your sleep habits. Would you say that you need more than the average person or less?
I think I function best around 8 to 9, so I think I'm probably bang on. I think if I get 10 hours sleep, I'm kind of verging on the too much sleep and I feel groggy. You know, kind of like if you have a little bit less sleep and you wake up and you know you've got stuff to do, so you're just kind of like, okay, I'm awake and I'm kind of ready for the day, because you're kind of, I think maybe your adrenaline's a bit higher because you're like, no, I have to be, because I've got to go to work and I've got to do X, Y, Z. And then, you know, it kind of hits you later on in the day, or like maybe it's like a delay and you feel it the next day. But then, you know, if you get too much sleep, I feel like sometimes you're just a bit like groggy. You're like, oh my God, like I feel like I've been dead. Like, where am I? Not that I would be feeling that today, because yeah, I can't imagine what that would feel like. But yeah, how do you feel about that?
Oh my God, I can't get enough sleep. I am also looking into this with my doctor because it's mildly concerning. But I really can't sleep enough. I've always been a bit of a sleepy girl. 10 hours is generally what I aim for.
Do you know what though? I think it's women tend to need more sleep than average. I mean, especially like teenagers and stuff. Like when I was a teenager, I could sleep probably like 14 hours.
Same. Yeah.
But I think that's just a testament to like your growing brain and like your growing functions and everything. But I think as women as well, I think women tend to need more sleep than men.
Definitely. And I think for me, like, again, when I was a teenager, same as you, I could have slept like 14 hours and I just couldn't have slept enough. I think
Still woke up like, I need more.
Yeah, but my concern now is that like I thought I would have grown out of that and I haven't, like, and I still sleep a lot and I'm still quite tired, so it's
So it's bordering on some sort of kind of chronic fatigue situation maybe going on with your body, but we don't know about yet.
We're looking into it, but I think we should also touch on what happens if you don't get enough sleep. So there's obviously, this can affect pretty much every part of your body. So your central nervous system is heavily affected. You may find it difficult to concentrate, learn new things, have digestive issues, lower libido. Also affects your mental abilities. Do you want to...
Pardon?
Sorry, that wasn't...
Do you want to just expand on that? Because your mental abilities are seeming a bit lacking today.
That was not targeted. I just felt like I would pass it over so I didn't speak for too long.
Yeah, so it can affect things like creativity, decision making. It's also lead to many like chronic health problems such as heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, potentially having a stroke, obesity, and depression. The more kind of psychological effects are really kind of what's interesting to me, because I think when I don't get enough sleep over the course of maybe like 3 or 4 days, I really do struggle. I struggle to kind of get along with people. Like I'm not very nice to be around. Like, I don't make great decisions. I don't think I'm in my best self, and I don't think I'm the best person to be around. I think I do become a lot more anxious, and, you know, I do have a lot more low mood.
God, I'm so irritable. Like, I'm similar to you. I think that I am anxious. Like, that anxious brain really ramps up, but I just turn into a bit of a knob, to be honest. Like, I think it's the same when I get hungry. Like, if I haven't slept, I am like a bear with a sore head, and I don't think many people like to be around me when I'm in that state, so I try to actively make sure I get enough sleep.
Do you know what I think it is as well? You know, I think when I was younger, in school, I used to get like 3 or 4 hours sleep a night, which is absolutely insane.
Jeez.
And then obviously on the weekends, I'd be like, I'm not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Like, I used to function at school on that. And like, I used to be like a daydreamer. Like, I used to always get told off in school. Like, I was never like a bad kid or anything, but I was always kind of like drifting off into the distance, not listening. Didn't really enjoy school very much unless I was doing kind of like the arts or like creative writing. And yeah, now looking back, I'm like, maybe girls should have slept more. But yeah, I think you kind of get used to not sleeping as well. I think you kind of go into this state of like,
your body just adjusts.
Your body adjusts. And, you know, when you're young, I think you can kind of bounce back from that a little bit harder. But I can't imagine getting 3 or 4 hours sleep at 27 years old every day, trying to function as a normal working human being. I don't think I would get anything done. And I think I notice more when I'm tired. I think now if I get 3 or 4 hours sleep for the next 2 or 3 days, all I can think about is the fact that I haven't slept and the fact that I can't concentrate and I can't like show up and do my job and like function. And especially like I do a job where I have to drive a lot. So like I know that that's really dangerous, and I can't just be like, oh, it's fine, I'm going to school tomorrow, I'll just like drag myself out and like walk down the road and hop into school and probably get told off for not listening. But you know what I mean?
I mean, it's a good job none of us are doctors or nurses, because obviously shift work, very tired.
Calling and say, sorry, I can't do that surgery today, I only got 3 hours sleep.
Yeah, like there's just kind of no choice. Like you've got to crack on with it, but also seeing how it affects the body, it feels extra dangerous when someone's doing a very important job, if they are sleep deprived, how that's affecting them.
Yeah, so speaking about the kind of career that I do, I work in film and television, and there was an article with The Guardian called I Fell Asleep Driving Around London, and it was basically about the TV and film workers' fear and danger and fatalities in the industry through kind of lack of sleep and driving. And there's this kind of like expectation that you work as many hours as you have to, regardless of whether maybe you get overtime or not. And even if you do get overtime, like you'd be pushing like 14, 15 hour days. And for people who are very new to the industry, maybe interns, people who are trying to impress older members of the industry, you know, they're driving home and they're crashing their cars. And you know, this girl, Amelie, I think she was called, she was absolutely desperate for a job, and she needed the money to pay bills. And her commute kind of entailed driving around the M25 to and from each day's shooting, which could take 6 hours a day just driving in rush hour.
Wow.
And you know, sometimes she would finish filming at like 5:30 a.m. and then one of those days she ended up just falling asleep at the wheel and crashing her car. And I just don't think you are able to show up and be a good worker and produce a high level of like work. You know, you're kind of at that point when you're working that many hours, like, who are you as a person? Because I don't think I would be a very interesting one or be able to, like, you know, perform these things. Like, you know, you're just a robot at that point. You might as well just employ 3 people on really lower rates who maybe don't know anything about the industry, because that's all you're kind of getting from that person.
So it's this culture of you stay until the job done, regardless of the kind of ramifications of that. So obviously that feels quite dangerous.
Yeah, it's really dangerous. And I think I have, you know, there are times on a job where I felt that, and like, you know, I'm driving around London, driving around the North Circular, I'm going to and from West to East London, and I'm thinking, you know, it's 6 p.m. now, I'm in East London, I live in West, and I've got probably an hour and a half's drive ahead of me. Yeah, I've been driving literally all day anyway, and you kind of like, you know, I'll be whacking on the aircon, smashing up the music, like blaring Fred again or Peggy Goo, and like, yeah, just trying to like stay awake. And like, you know, sometimes I've had to actually stop the car and just get out and be like, touch some grass and be like, I'm awake, I'm fine. Yeah. And that's not okay. Like, I've got to get home. Like, I've got to like eat, like sleep, go to work the next day. So I can't just be like, oh, I'll just stay for another hour in East London and wake myself up. It's like, yeah, it's not possible.
Probably a good time now to go to the sleep hygiene side of things. So if you haven't heard of sleep hygiene, it's basically sleep habits and practices that promote healthy, good sleep quality. So maintaining a regular sleep schedule, creating a conducive sleep environment, dark room, cold room, things like that. The rise of sleep hygiene culture is massively on the up. Healthy sleep is up 100% as a Google search term globally. There's 714 million videos on hashtag sleep talk. But obviously, which is really interesting, and I just want to touch on your sleep hygiene first. Is there anything you employ at bedtime, pre-bed, that kind of gets you into a nice sleepy state and gives you a good night's sleep?
I mean, I think I always try to. Like, I'm always like, oh, that sounds really good. But I think the one thing that I had employed into my life was a silk pillow and like a silk lavender mist. Ooh. You know, I was always a sucker for a lavender mist when I was a kid. Lavender. Like, I used to love that shit. And I used to like pick it out of my garden and be like, oh, I'm going to make these. I used to make these tiny little pillows for my family members for like Christmas and stuff. And it was like the little sleep fairy, 10 years old, you know. So like, I know you wear a face mask and earplugs.
I wear earplugs. I have a silk pillowcase. I was wearing eye masks for a fair while, but I think it was irritating my eyelid eczema, so I have stopped. But our room is quite dark, so I don't feel like I need it. The main thing I've noticed a difference, and I don't think it will be a shock to anyone, is no phone an hour before bed, which I have sucked at recently. But I do notice a remarkable difference when I don't do any screen blue light an hour before I go to sleep.
I think that's really interesting. Like, since I've been here in Australia, I think the culture here is a little bit different. So you go to bed a little bit early. You don't necessarily go out drinking. You're kind of like bed by like 9, which is great, because like, I think I'd got into a really bad habit of, you know, working really late, then kind of being like, oh, I just want to have some free time to myself.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of dark outside and you're there like scrolling through your phone and, you know, doom scrolling, as they say. And here I've been a lot less on my phone. I mean, I still am on my phone a lot, but like in bed especially, like I've been reading a book instead and just getting naturally tired that way. I think when I was a kid, like I used to read a lot of books. Like, if you'd known me in my teenage years, I was such a little bookworm. Like, I actually used to get midget gems thrown at me in the school hallways for reading. Like, that's
kids are horrible.
I know, kids are horrible, but like that was just, you know, that was like scraping the surface of what they did to other people, so that was fine. You know, they used to put people in bins, so you know, it could have been worse. But yeah, and when I did read a lot in the past, you do get sleepy, you do get tired. That I think that's one of the easiest ways to get tired, in my opinion.
Same.
Obviously we're going to go through a bit more of the health fads, but yeah, that would be my go-to.
Definitely. I've really started picking up books recently as well, and definitely if I'm struggling to sleep, I will pick up a book and it will make me sleepy. But I do think it's really interesting how we went to silk pillowcase, earplugs first, because the global sleep aids market is projected to grow significantly, reaching around 101 billion by 2030, up from approximately 75 billion in 2021. So this is really significant growth. Over-the-counter sleep medications are becoming increasingly more popular alongside natural remedies like herbal supplements. I think we should touch on this for a second, wearable devices. So obviously smartwatches, Oura rings, these kind of smart sleep products that are really driving this innovation within the market. Obviously, I know a lot of my friends kind of check their sleep score when they wake up and it's like, how did I sleep last night? How am I going to feel today? Do you have a watch? Do you have an Oura ring?
I don't. And do you know what one of the main reasons is I don't? It's because I don't actually want to. I don't know why. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I think like if I get bad sleep, I know I've got bad sleep. Like I'm waking up, I haven't got great sleep. You know, I don't know how.
I'm looking at Lucy now like, I know she's had a shit night's sleep.
No, I know when I've not got great sleep. Like I wake up and I don't feel fucking refreshed. So I don't know how helpful that is. You know, when I've got a 10, 11 hour day ahead of me for my watch to be like, did you know you woke up 7 or 8 times in the night? I'm like, yeah, I fucking do know. I was fucking awake.
I was there.
Yeah, like your sleep was quite broken last night. You should try and get more. Like it's just a bit fucking patronising, isn't it? Like I don't want a little fucking thing on my watch telling me I didn't sleep very well. I want to fucking know that already.
I love that like the snooziest episode we've done is like the one that's riling us the most. I don't fucking need to know. Shove your sleep score up your ass.
Yeah, or like I wake up refreshed and it's like, well done. It's like, shut up.
Shut up. And just a fun fact, North America is currently the largest market for sleep aids, driven by high prevalence of sleep disorders and a strong focus on wellness. Also, the pandemic really exacerbated sleep issues for many, boosting demand of sleep aids.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe a testament to people slowing down. Like kind of like what I was saying, like, you know, coming here and slowing down and not having that responsibility of working. And yeah, obviously people are still working from home. There was like our key workers and people in supermarkets, etc. I was one of them. Waitress.
What did you do? Waitrose? Did you get a discount?
No, but I did work at John Lewis for like 6 or 7 years.
Fine.
And I got my bag there.
Were you on the
so it's
checkout?
fine. I wasn't on checkout. I was stocking shelves.
Get it?
But yeah, I think, you know, when people really slowed down, like I know for myself, like my health really improved over lockdown. And I think I was a lot more conscious of the things that maybe I was like neglecting. So like the fact that pandemic made people more aware of their sleep issues boosted the fact that people were like, okay, maybe I need to change something about my sleep, is not surprising.
So when we talk about sleep hygiene and products, we're kind of talking about masks, pillowcases, Oura rings, smartwatches, supplements. For example, Let Me Sleep, Kourtney Kardashian's supplement product is up 1,200% search on Google. People shedding all these products in the morning, mouth tape, pillow spray. Has it all gone a bit too far?
Mouth tape.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah, I think we need to talk about mouth tape. I think, you know, obviously there's going to be some science back to these things. I don't think you can kind of sell a product these days without a little bit of science backing it, right? I do see this kind of trend, and they just look fucking stupid to me. Like, they're just... How much time in the day do you have that you have these kind of like, not only do you have your silk pillowcase, your mask, your earplugs, your like bonnet for your hair, your like your supplements, your Oura ring, your watch, and then you're like, do you know what? I'm going to whack a bit of tape on my mouth. Like, you know, imagine if you're like dating and, you know, like, wait a second, I've got to put my mouth tape on. Because I presume it's something that you have to do every single day. Like, it's one of those things that you maybe shouldn't miss, you know, like a red light mask or blue light therapy or whatever. It's like you probably get the benefits out of it from doing it every day. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm not sold on that. What are your kind of thoughts? What kind of sells it? Like, if it does sell it for you, like, what is it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think like when I look at the benefits of good sleep, you know, everything reverse of what we said at the top of the episode. So like improved mood, cognitive function, mental health, overall health, less susceptible to maybe some of these diseases. I can understand why people are prioritizing their sleep because I think it's important and that's healthy. I do think the kind of trend of what we're seeing on TikTok, especially of people doing these mammoth routines and like really shedding all these products, and especially mouth tape. I mean, I'd be really interested to speak to a doctor about mouth tape, because like I'm not sure what it's supposed to do for you. And if anything, seeing someone tape their mouth up before they go to sleep for me feels quite dangerous. I don't know if that's legit. Obviously you can still breathe through your nose, but I don't know, like there's something about that makes
Don't
me
tape your mouth with the cold.
That makes me feel a bit like, is this good for us? And I think the other thing we should need to mention is like, is this also making us a bit obsessive? And is that healthy? And in turn, is that actually giving us a worse night's sleep because we've got all these millions of products and we're obsessing about it? Or am I just getting a little bit too deep into it myself?
So this is interesting. The National Institute of Health say that there is actually no scientific evidence that mouth tape is effective, and it actually can be dangerous if you have kind of like a sleep disorder. So there's actually quite little research on it, and doctors and dentists usually don't recommend it because it can hamper your breathing, disrupt your sleep, cause skin irritation, reduce your oxygen levels, which is something that I kind of was like, yeah, like you're shutting your mouth off, and yeah, be harmful with people with different kind of allergies, asthma, or sleep apnea. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things of like, how worth it is it? Like, I don't know whether the benefit of that really outweighs the kind of risks.
I agree. I think it also feels a little bit like, what other area can we commercialize, right? Like, and I think there's a lot of these practices that have genuinely helped me. Like, sleeping with earplugs, very helpful. Silk pillowcase has helped my skin. Also, it's cooling and that kind of helps me go to sleep. And there's things that I've employed that have genuinely helped me and helped my sleep. But I do feel a bit like, are we being quite heavy-handed in the way we're like commodifying our sleep?
Well, it's like as soon as someone like clocks on to, you know, a bit of an industry of wellness, like there'll be one thing that really helps people. That'll be the thing that's like the gateway. Like, oh my God, this thing has changed people's lives. And then, you know, the little CEOs around the boardroom, you know, side eye, and they're like, like, what can we do now?
Another one.
I think it's good to mention Brian Johnson again. He is the Don't Die guy. I've mentioned him in a previous episode. I haven't really gone into who he is as a person, but he is the most measured person in history, and he tests all of his biomarkers. So his skin's age, his brain's age, his cardiovascular health is actually in the top 1% of 18-year-olds, and he's in his late 40s. So like he is the most documented person alive at this present time. He's also a billionaire, just mentioned that. This is how he's doing it. But he really kind of commodifies this kind of idea that sleep is number one for him. Like he gets, I think it's something like 8 hours sleep exactly. And I was kind of just like looking through his website. It's called Blueprint by Brian Johnson. He's creating these blueprints for the everyday person of how you can basically implement things into your life on a smaller scale that will benefit you in the future. So I just want to say that this is something that he has researched, and there is actual evidence for this. And this is not just him like claiming something. He has gone through the practices. He's been tested. This is what he's found. He says that being constantly awake for 18 or 24 hours is equivalent to having a blood alcohol content of 0.05%. But in the US, 0.08% blood alcohol level is considered legally intoxicated. So, you know, this is a crazy marker. Like, your body's basically drunk. It's your immune system's not working very well. Your blood count is not at the same level as it should be. He also says that getting 6 hours of sleep or less, on average, you're 4.2 times more likely to develop the common cold. So it kind of ties into that like immune system thing. Your body's defenses are down basically. If you're not sleeping, your body's like, oh, I can't deal with the world. And like, yeah, your brain is that way when you feel that in your head, but like your whole body is feeling that way. And if you need any kind of more motivation to sleep, just a single night with only 4 hours sleep showed a 70% reduction in the activity of natural killer cells in 18 out of 23 participants. And those killer cells are, you know, the ones that are killing cancer cells in your body. So basically, in essence, you're reducing your risk of cancer by sleeping more.
Interesting. Okay. Haven't heard of that, but it was interesting listening to you kind of run through that. So it's essentially, it means that, yeah, your body cannot function as though it's supposed to function. I think going back to the sleep aids of it though, how useful are all these sleep aids if you are on shift work or you're doing, the work that you do where maybe you are doing a 6-day week and you're doing a 14+ hour day and, you're a nurse, you're a doctor. Like for some people, this regular sleep schedule kind of is a privilege, which makes me kind of question the sleep aid side of it. Like how useful is this stuff if there isn't the hours in the day to get the sleep anyway?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think Brian Johnson has a blueprint for this. Like he has I think it's like a 10-step plan. But basically he, from just kind of skimming through it, he's not telling you to buy all these sleep aids, which is really interesting actually. He's basically saying wind down for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
don't look at your phone. Get some morning light in the morning. Like as soon as you wake up, make sure you're looking at
setting your circadian rhythm. Yeah,
exactly, your circadian rhythm. Regulate your evening light, all these kind of things. Regulate your bedroom temperature if you can. If you live in a hot country, have it a little bit cooler if you can. If you're able to have aircon or whatever.
So that's really interesting then. So he is not saying go out and buy
sleep tape,
let me sleep and and tape your mouth up and everything like that. He is giving real tangible get off your phone for half an hour, don't get your blue light, look at daylight in the morning, set that circadian rhythm. So it's real tangible doable things that the everyday person can generally do.
What I've kind of gathered from following Brian Johnson for a bit is he's not trying to sell you products. He is trying to sell this idea of the blueprint of the human body, but he's not trying to be like, oh, this supplement is going to change your life, this whatever is going to change your life, because it's probably not. We all kind of know that implementing a schedule, it kind of helps you over a long period of time. It's something that you have to be consistent with everything, with your skin, with your hair, with your sleep. It's you can't just fix it straight away. You've got to just kind of be consistent with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it does seem from what you've told me that sleep stands on its own a little bit in the way of, obviously it should be viewed holistically as part of a healthier, broader lifestyle. But if healthy, good sleep is removed, there's a serious domino effect on everything else, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the key things that is coming from this podcast, and I'm kind of learning as we go along, is we are being sold these products as kind of oh, look, you're going to get so much more sleep if you have this silk eye mask. And it's well, it's probably maybe going to help your routine, but the thing that's actually going to help you is, winding down 30 minutes before you go to bed, not looking at blue light, all these other things that you need to really concentrate on to help your sleep and to be able to sleep better, than buying the next product that's trying to be sold to you.
Yeah, and looking at it as window dressing. And I think also it probably goes without saying that we're not attacking actual sleep disorders in this. Obviously, there are real medical sleep disorders where that needs to be dealt with by a doctor.
Have you ever had sleep paralysis? No. It's awful.
Terrifying, apparently.
Awful. I've not ever had it where I've hallucinated. I've only ever had it where I've fallen asleep and my eyes have been closed, but I know I'm awake and I can't wake up and I can't move my body. But I worked with a woman once and she had really bad sleep paralysis, and it would be almost nightly. This is where it gets into the serious sleep disorder. It would be almost nightly that she would feel like she was completely awake, completely in her body, and she would be thrown around her room.
Wow.
And that was her sleep paralysis. And you often hear about, because I'm quite interested in sleep paralysis, I think it's a really crazy thing. There's this common trope over the centuries of the woman sitting on your chest. That is a very big trope of sleep paralysis. And I honestly pray to God that I never experience that, because I think that's the most terrifying thing that someone could go through, is seeing somebody who is not there being locked in your own body. My cousin as well, I hope she doesn't mind, me calling her out on this, but she has a canal boat on the Thames, and she was sleeping there alone with her dog Murph, and she was laying on her side and she woke up. Well, she was in sleep paralysis, but she didn't know this, and she was looking at her dog sleeping on her floor, and she felt somebody behind her grabbing her and breathing on her neck, and she obviously thought there was an intruder, and for literally 5 to 10 minutes she genuinely didn't move, and she couldn't move, and she was and then, when your brain kind of realizes, oh, maybe this is sleep paralysis, she's trying to scream for her dog to wake her up. It's you jump out of it, and that story has really stayed with me, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
That's really scary.
I don't know. We can't go into that too much. I don't know if there is any kind of aids for things like that, but I think that is something that is
we're not built for this.
Something that you need to go to your doctor for. But yeah, I just think sleep paralysis is crazy.
So overall, where do we stand on sleep? Is it that deep? I feel like we've probably already answered this question. I think we both agree that it is. I think my overarching is that all the bells and whistles, if they help you, you have the means, as ever, you do you. If you genuinely feel like you've employed something like an eye mask or whatever that's changed the game, like it goes without saying, crack on. I think the mouth tape, the waking up, the shedding, all the things we've listed, it does feel a little bit heavy-handed, but I do probably come back to the side of, if it helps you, like, crack on. I'm also coming from a position of privilege in the sense of I sleep very easily, so I don't necessarily feel like I need all that stuff. But where are you on it all? Do you think it's that deep?
Yeah, I think it's that deep. And I think if you have anxiety around sleeping, I think maybe the kind of sleep aids might perpetuate that anxiety a little bit more, because you're like, okay, I'm not falling asleep very easily. Maybe I've got an anxious brain. Maybe work is stressing me out. Maybe there's some other factors that are not helping me sleep. And I'm adopting all these things and they're not working. And, that might perpetuate the fact that you're a little bit more anxious about falling asleep, and then you're not able to fall asleep.
And you've spent loads of money
a lot of money. Yeah. Whereas, the science says it's more about the practices that you have before you sleep and after you sleep that are going to aid you in that. And obviously that comes with schedules as well. People get up very early for work. Like I get up around 6 a.m. Like it's not always as easy to get light, especially if you live somewhere like the UK, that you wake up at 6 a.m. and it's like completely dark and you're like, oh great, well how am I going to set my circadian rhythm now? No, I'm not.
The sun's not out.
Sun's not out. So then you have to adopt, one of those daylight lights, that cost about 100 quid from John Lewis. It all adds up,
Love a bit of John Lewis.
Love a bit of John Lewis. Repping John Lewis here.
John Lewis, Waitrose. The gang's all here.
The gang's here. Worked there for 6 years. Miss you. Yeah, it just kind of adds up. And I think, you've got a bit of a privilege if you live in a country like Australia, that you can kind of, pretty much wake up whenever you want and know that you'll be able to get that light, you'll be able to get that kind of rhythm going.
It does make a difference, and I have felt a difference since being here. I think, obviously I touched on my sleepy girl nature at the start of the episode, but it has improved since being here. It's still not where it needs to be, but being able to wake up and immediately get sunlight, not only does that set your circadian rhythm, it makes you feel a bit more awake, gives you a bit more energy. You're also getting a bit more vitamin D as well. That's probably helping. And that also massively feeds into kind of the anxiety and the depression side of it. So for me, it's very circular and it's very holistic. But I think in the UK, it is incredibly difficult. It is gloomy. You're not getting a lot of sunlight. Waking up and setting your circadian rhythm is all well and good, but if the sun's not out, how are you supposed to do that? And often that comes through spending money on a panel lamp or a sad lamp or something. So it does kind of feel a bit like
coffee.
Well, yeah, or caffeine.
Red Bull, as soon as you wake up.
To jolt you awake. So yeah, I think that's probably my kind of overarching thoughts on it. Are you still with us? You've done great. How are you feeling by the end of it? I want some sleep.
No, I'm awake. I think this is ironically has woken me up. So yeah, thank
Lucy
you for this.
hates me a bit less now.
Now's the time for
what a pile of bollocks.
This is the time in the show where we just chat shit about something really insignificant that just really fucks us off, riles us up, grinds our gears, gets us in a really bad mood.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. So, Phoebe, what have you got for us today?
So, it's people who work corporate jobs wearing a headset with a mic. I just feel like, are you about to break into Hit Me Baby One More Time?
Is it Britney bitch?
Is it Britney bitch?
No, it's Ben bitch.
No, it's Ben from Accounts.
He's coming to bring you a really boring task to do.
Yeah, and if you dial in to that meeting, rep in a mic, I just can't take you seriously. I'm sorry, whatever task you're about to bring to me.
Do they have headphones too?
Yeah, so it's headphones and then they'll a mic will come around the side and Look, I'm sure it gives me great audio on the other end. Maybe that's why they choose to do it. They're doing everyone else a favour, right? But it's just like, it's just not needed.
Throw your mic in the bin, Ben.
And like, likely it's probably like a gaming mic that they're using as well, which just like, again,
part-time Stardew Valley part-time corporate job.
And again, I'm not here to judge what you do in your spare time, or am I?
I think you are. I think that's the whole point of this section. I am judging you for your fucking Britney mic, Ben. Don't know why
Ben, put the mic down.
Ben, put the mic down.
Thank you so much for listening to Shallow. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could leave us a review. It makes a huge difference in helping others to discover the podcast. We always want to hear from you, so feel free to slide into our DMs or follow us on Instagram @shallowpod, or send us an email at shallow@boxedoff.studio. Shallow is a Boxed Off production, written and hosted by Lucy Bell and Phoebe Whittle. We'll see you next time.